Moving on now to de-extinction news. While most of us are out here trying to put a pause on the devastating impacts of climate change on not only the environment, but on the animals who live in said environment, and sometimes our own bellies. Yum yum. But only one company has proposed to bring back some of those lost creatures, to negate the neglect of humanity. And that company is InGen. And that man is John Hammond. But like many other tech companies who looked at a scientific dystopia and didn't think why, but instead thought, why not me? This isn't a story about InGen or John Hammond, but it is in that vein that we meet the protagonist of this story, biotech company Colossal. Now, long-time listeners may remember Colossal as the company who wants to bring back woolly mammoths, the dodo, the Tasmanian tiger, and presumably, based on their propensity to want to bring back things that humanity's need for excess had a strong hand in wiping out, they'll eventually bring back a functioning working class. I've got some DNA right here that they can scoop up, or if they want some proper working class DNA, they can have Jimmy Barnes right now on ice. Just pop him on ice and go back to him whenever you need him. Besides, the super rich are going to need an underclass to lord over when they come out of their doomsday bunkers, right? And why shouldn't I contribute to that underclass? So the first step down that road, Colossal say the de-extinction of the Tasmanian tiger might be close after they coded the entire genome of the extinct mammalian puma. This is all possible due to an unexpected savior. Hoarders! As in the ultimate spring cleaning move, researchers found a preserved thylacine head in a bucket. It was like Gwyneth Paltrow at the end of Seven, but in the back of a cupboard in Melbourne Museum. See, this is why Indiana Jones says everything belongs in a museum. You never know when we're going to need to jumpstart a species that we destroyed while travelling the world to fill up the museum with stolen artifacts. It's only logical. Colossal Biosciences is really keen on being known as a de-extinction company, actually placing them in a good position for the future of Australia. After all, we are on a collision course with burning all of our wildlife to death. So we can innovate modern solutions to future problems so that we can ignore them for another 90 or so years. Although, given the nature of disruption, capitalism, and American tech companies' propensity to fail to make money without taking some kind of immoral action, not to mention that almost pathological nature of companies to pursue reckless financial success and get everyone on some form of subscription service, it's only a matter of time until all animals cloned by Colossal Biosciences go from being gifted to their home countries to being loaned on annual contracts to the very same countries that they borrowed them from. Just like China loans out their pandas to countries in order to get soft power. So eventually we will have access to the animals that once roamed freely across the land. If only we had taken better care of them, then we wouldn't be in this position. This is like some sort of poorly written parable in a horrible science fiction novel, probably titled something awful like The Children of Koalas, or Do Tech Companies Dream of Artificial Tigers, and the modern classic Nothing Nowhere for the Rest of Time Unless You Subscribe. However, other scientists aren't as sure that it'll go as well as Colossal thinks it will, as Australia's only marsupial apex predator, the Tasmanian tiger, well, the thylacine, but see, white Europeans came along and they hunted them until basically the only place they had left to themselves was Tasmania, because even a group as land-hungry as white Europeans looked at Tasmania and went, it's good for a prison, but nobody will ever live here, right? Right? Leave it for the thylacines. And as such, they became known as the Tasmanian tiger. It's evolution, baby! And I think we have good reason to pause and not get too excited about the possible cloning and bringing back of the thylacine. You see, here's the thing. Thylacines, they went extinct in 1936, so reintegrating it into modern society might prove complicated as it has missed the last 90 or so years. It's going to have no idea what the value of a dollar is. And these creatures, well, much like their predecessors, they're just going to be given a home, given everything that they need. So they'll never really learn how hard it is to live in modern society. We'll be treating them with a level of grace that we've never given ourselves. We'll say things like, oh, well, they're from a different time, as the Thylacine uses outdated slurs. That was just how people talked back then. Don't worry about it. I mean, we've got to look after them. There's not many of them left. We will have to begin their return by placing them within retirement homes where they can collect franking credits and complain about the way language has changed with their fellow boomers until sufficient new generations have been born, and that way they can form an empathetic relationship with the environment around them, and then we'll pull away all the benefits and all the the good and favourable conditions, and we'll let them fend for themselves. Scientific papers going as far back as 2009 also claim, because of dwindling numbers, the Thylacine were actually too inbred to have survived, regardless of whether we look after them or not. Although, I will note that doesn't seem to have stopped the royal family. If anything, they're thriving, despite their low numbers. Just something to keep in mind, I guess.